Hi, Volume 6, Bible Story by Arthur S Maxwell. It's what book I'm in. And we are at Part 1, Story 11, Animals of the Sea, from the Sea. Now, Daniel is a prophet, and he talks a lot of stuff that are future tense, and I forgot what he'd done, but he kind of cleaned it up. But I'm gonna just read what he has, and I might put my little tidbits that I remember and stuff from Bible school and all that stuff. So Bible school and Sunday school and all that. Okay, Part 1, Story 11, Animals from the Sea. When I first was a very young little boy, I never was a boy. This is the author speaking. Author speaking. When I was a very little boy, I used to have strange dreams every now and then. All sorts of wild animals would come walking up the big staircase in my home and file past my bedroom door. I particularly remember the giraffes because their heads would knock against the ceiling, high though it was. Now, Daniel once had a dream like that. All his animals didn't come upstairs. They walked out of the sea. One night, not long before he was called to read the writing on the wall at Belshazzar's feast, he had a vision of the seaside. Maybe it was a rocky strip of coast, such as I remember seeing in Palestine, or a sandy beach like that beside the Persian Gulf, which he must have passed many times in his travel on the king's business. A fierce, mighty wind was blowing. A great wave was thundering on shore. Suddenly, as he stood there gazing at the wild surf, he saw a strange-looking animal coming out of the water. It wasn't a whale, or a shark, or a platypus. No, or a porpoise. Okay, that's basically a dolphin. A little bit different than a dolphin. Or a porpoise, such as might have been washed in on by a storm. No, it was a lion. It But it was no ordinary lion. It had eagle wings. As the lion drew near, the fierce gust of wind seemed to tear off its wings, whereupon a queer animal rose on its hind legs and behaved more like a man than a lion. At this point, Daniel became aware of the second beast as coming out of the sea. This was a bear, not walking as a bear usually do, but short of humped on one side, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth, as though it were hungry. Then came a leopard with 4 heads and 4 wings of a fowl. Hardly had these strange creatures passed by when there was a fearful commotion out of the surf. Now Daniel saw a fourth beast, so dreadful and terrible that he couldn't think of a name for it. It had 10 horns and great iron teeth. It was strong exceedingly and stomped its feet madly on the shore. As Daniel gazed in astonishment, he saw another horn appear and gradually grow bigger. It had eyes and a mouth, and it pulled up three of the other horns by its roots. Interesting. And then the illustration, this ugly beast, this red one's ugly. 4 heads, 4 wings, bear with a mouth, and then the lion with wings. And there's the illustration. Now I've done an illustration of the bear. I think I've done the illustration of these guys. I don't think I've done the beast with the metal teeth. But I know I've done the lion, the bear, and the leopard. I got it somewhere in my art up there. Okay? Looking forward at this moment, the old prophet seemed to see right into heaven. In his vision, he saw God, the Ancient of Days, sitting upon a glorious throne. A fiery steam issued and came forth from him before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. A judgment. And who was the judge? Who was being judged? Daniel listened intently. The angels were talking about the 4 strange beasts, and particularly about the last one, which had been so evil looking. In the books were recorded all the cruel, unkind things it had done. And Daniel was amazed at the number of them. Finally he heard the verdict, guilty, the penalty, death. He said, I beheld even until the beast was slain and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. Then a lovely thing happened, so different, so beautiful, like a man, like the Son of Man, came with the cloud of heaven, and came with the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Now there was great rejoicing in heaven, as there was given to this glorious being dominion and glory and kingdom, that all people, nations, and tongues should serve him. It was a happy ending to what had begun as a strange and terrifying dream. But what was the meaning of all this wonderful things? That is what Daniel wanted to know. The Bible says that he was greatly troubled about them. Then an angel came and explained everything. What Daniel had seen, he said, was really a vision of things to come. God had allowed him to look into the future. The 4 strange beasts that rose out of the sea stood for 4 great empires that would follow one another in years to come. The lion was Babylon, whose wings were already plucked. The bear represented the Medo-Persia, whose army were already approaching Babylon. After that would come Greece, the leopard beast, followed in turn by the Roman, and the horns, or powers, that would grow out of it. Those world empires, especially the fourth, would do many terrible things, but God in heaven would be watching them all the time, while angels would record in the book of heaven all that they had or did. Someday there will be a judgment. There, then all the world, all the world powers that have done evil or had hurt God's people in any way would be found guilty, sentenced to death and destruction. In their place, God will set up his own kingdom of love, righteousness, and peace with one like the Son of Man as its glorious and eternal King. The kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. And then, of course, it has a picture of the angel talking to Daniel, the old dead, or an old dead. That's the illustration. And we go to this page. Come to think of it, that was the very wonderful thing that happened that night as far off Babylon. Jerusalem was still in ruins. The children of Israel were still in captivity. Yet here was God saying to his faithful old servant, kings will come and kings may go, empires may rise and fall, but I have not forgotten my people nor my purpose. Someday all will come out right. Someday the seed of a woman will bruise the serpent's head. Someday all people on earth will love and serve me. Someday Eden will be restored. And then it has a mom with her daughters in a garden, and then we have a family down at the bottom, or it might be another more people. And it says it's a Harry Anderson painting, and it's a double page with the text in between. Beautiful garden. It's a little offset, a little blurry. It's not my camera. Okay, and that was the end of part 1, story 11. And like always, we're going to take a break before I start on the next one. And I'll see you in a bit.